Everybody, thanks for joining us. We've got Coach Chryst with us. We'll take some comments from him and then move to questions.
It's always good to get an opportunity to be on the field with the guys, and there's always a ton to gain from each one of these practices. And today certainly was no different, and really every practice has been like that. So I've appreciated that from it, and we just got to continue to keep working and maximize the opportunities that we have in the remaining 2 weeks we have in spring ball.
Go to Jeff.
Paul, last year, Mason Stockey gave you blocking, running, receiving out of that fullback position. I'm just curious what you've seen from Chanel and Easterling this spring, and can those two guys give you what Chanel and Stockey gave you last year?
That's Mace gave us a lot, and we've been fortunate. We've had a run of really good fullbacks, and John's played, as you know, played a lot of football, and certainly has the opportunity for this year for his role to be different than it's been in the past. And even just the way that, and you saw it today, and the way we're practicing, kind of banged up a little bit at the running back spot. And so those guys are getting much more reps really at the tailback spot. And so I think there's still a lot of work to be done, particularly with Quan. We certainly know more about John, but it'll be interesting, Jeff. I don't know, and I don't know that this spring will necessarily be able to answer that completely.
Go to Colton.
Paul, we've seen you guys use a lot of 2 tight end sets. I'm just wondering, with the versatility that group has, the amount of guys that you have there that can play, is that something that you are trying to experiment more with in the spring session?
It's we have a group that we want to find out more about, and we also, like I said, with the running backs and kind of the availability of some of them to practice. Our fullbacks are being used as much as tailbacks, and then we're getting some back, but we were at times a little thin at receiver, so that's where you saw a lot of use of them. But it's good, for those tight ends to get a lot of work and to find out kind of what they can do, and then can they do it consistently. And I think that's it in a nutshell for everyone. Spring ball, I don't think necessarily declares who the starters are necessarily going to be, but I think in spring you've got to put yourself out there, and you've got to prove that you can do something, that you can give something to the team that makes you valuable, worthwhile of the playing time, and then you got to be able to do that consistently. And I think we've had guys at the tight end spot that have done some really good things, and you're starting to see consistency. I've loved the way that Jake Ferguson's approached, but we know Jake's a good football player. I've been impressed with the way Esh has been approaching each day. And then you've got a group of guys that I think need to take advantage of the reps, and Clay and Rucci and Cam Large. It's a shame with Cole Dakovich. He's missing a lot of practice now due to an injury, and I thought he was having a good start to his spring. But we'll keep working, and they're going to get a lot of reps this spring. That's the great thing about spring, and we'll find out more about them as we finish this out.
Jesse.
Paul, Devin Chandler got some good opportunities last season. Where has he taken a step this spring, and is he somebody that can potentially work his way into that group at wide receiver?
Yeah, he did. He did get some opportunities last year, and you hope that and I believe it has kind of given him an understanding of the importance of kind of all that goes into being a good position player. And the one thing I've appreciated about Devin in his approach this spring is he's been eager to learn, and been taking a lot of reps, and I think taking the coaching from Coach Whitted and puts himself out there. And so certainly has put himself in a position to get those reps and earned them. And I think, you know, the second half of spring, you're starting to see a little bit more where he's playing a little bit more. And I think anytime you get to the point where you're playing more and thinking less, then I think you get a better and more accurate picture of their abilities. And I think you're starting to see that. We're starting to see that with Devin.
Steve?
Just wondering, in terms of receivers as well as DK, what did he get from last year, his experience last year, having to play in a lot as a true freshman, and what have you seen from him this spring so far?
You know, Chim's, I thought the way that he approached last year was tremendous and true to character, and it's high character. He, you know, the off season and has carried that forward in spring, and a guy I think that's, you know, has done a great job of kind of how he approaches each day. And, you know, when you talk about guys, you want them to have purpose and to practice with purpose. I think he's doing a tremendous job of that. And I think it's paying off. You know, there's a guy that, you know, Jim got a ton of reps and a lot of experience. And I think, you know, has done a nice job of taking that experience and building off of it. And I've been impressed, you know, really from first time we got to be with Jim, and I think he's done a nice job this spring of taking advantage of spring and continuing to improve.
Pablo?
Coach, you touched on it a little bit with having Jake Ferguson coming back has got to be a big part for the offense. Over the years, where have you seen him develop as not just a player, but as a leader?
Well, I think, you know, he has developed, I think, in every part of, you know, his game. And, you know, I also believe as a person, you know, you continue to grow, and he's obviously talented, but he's smart. And, you know, he invests in guys and gets to know his teammates. And I think that's a big part of leadership. And then also, I think, you know, Ferg loves playing the game, and guys see that, and you know, he loves to compete, and guys see that, and then they not only see it, but I think they respect that. And you know, when you have those pieces that kind of make you up and make you who you are, and you do know your teammates and care about your teammates, I think that makes for a good leader. And I think Ferg has certainly been that to this point.
George?
Yeah, Paul, as Jalen's kind of been banged up the last few practices, we've seen a lot of Brady Shipper and John Chanel. What do you like about those two as they've been looking like they take running back reps as well, especially for John, of course?
Well, I think that, you know, they've been available. They've been available and taking advantage of the opportunities to get better. And, you know, I feel real fortunate with Gary and the coaching that's being done, and guys that are able to apply it. And so I think you're seeing that, you know, guys that are able to take the coaching and apply the coaching will get better. And it's a combination, but, you know, they're wanting to learn, they're wanting to grow. And I think that they are doing that. And it's because they're out there and they're working at it.
Time for a couple more. We'll go back to Colton.
Paul, when we talked to Jack Sanborn this week, he said that Leo Chanel is a guy that's so aggressive and can make those plays acting quickly, but he needs to learn to slow down a little bit and kind of let the plays develop a little bit more. How have you seen him maybe take some of the strides this spring to do that?
Well, I think, you know, again, you know, those are all, a lot of those are the qualities that I think that we love and appreciate about Leo. And I think it's also, as he continues to build up his, you know, kind of the football knowledge and as he sees things and understanding of kind of his role and how he fits in the defense. And I think he's, you know, certainly capable of, you don't want to, there's a fine line, right? I think those qualities of how quick he is and explosive and the fact that he does trust himself and will trigger that, those can be a strength. And then I think it's then balancing it. And, Bob Bosta does a great job of coaching them on it. And I think that, Leo has a great person next to him, in Jack. And so I think that, and they do a great job of talking and playing off each other. And you talk about two guys that have played a lot of football. And so, those conversations and what they see is, that they can share a lot with each other. And I think, I've enjoyed in kind of how they also can kind of play off of each other. And I think that's what makes them a really powerful combination.
We'll wrap things up with one more from Jeff.
Well, Leonard plays a lot of guys in the back end, whether it's corner or safety. I'm just curious, of the young cornerbacks, not guys like Hicks or Caesar, has anyone caught your eye this spring as kind of taken, like you said, putting themselves out there and earning the trust of the staff for next year?
Yeah, I think, there's been a group and I'd say in general, we feel like they all certainly have a good talent base to them. And I think as a group, each one individually is coming from a good place. They want to be good players and they want to work at it. But I think that Dean Ingram and Alex have been doing a great job of kind of taking the coaching and trusting that. And you can now start to see that progression. And it's not to say the other guys aren't taking the coaching, but I think that you're starting to see some consistency in them. And I think that it's interesting. I remember my aunt was a kindergarten teacher. And, when Robin and I first had Katie and we're, as parents, we were trying to figure out, when should they be reading and what level, and, first time parents. And she kind of gave us some great advice that I think applies to coaching. It's like, if I tell my kindergarten class that if they're on one side of the playground, if I said, go to the other side of the playground, some would sprint, some would skip, some would walk, but they'd all get to the other side of the playground. And I think that's the same with players. If they want to be the best they can be, and if they're coming from a good spot, everyone's timing and growth is different. But if they keep working and keep taking the coaching and reapplying that and trusting the coaching, they'll get there. And you see that. And that's what I love about spring football practice, is that if they truly do take the coaching and apply it and go out there and work on it and then learn from that, you see great growth. And then you see guys that miss opportunities, that they're not putting in that work and they're not taking the coaching, and they're missing out on an opportunity to grow and get better. And I think, in general, I think that a group of corners has been taking it, but you've seen some that are a little bit further along on the playground.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.